decades ago, the conventional wisdom was bundling, and you have to bundle video and voice and broadband, which was still pretty nascent. And over the last couple decades, that's become a challenge because a lot of people have cut the cord. They've cut the cord first with voice. They've cut the cord with video to some extent. But at the same time, it seems like video still has a place. And we're going to learn about its place today. We have two experts, Marty Snustead with MVS and Jim Costello with Lynxx Networks. I want to say Lemonware, but I guess that's dating me, isn't it? So why don't we start with MVS? You guys had an announcement about you're now offering streaming services, helping operators provide streaming video services. So why don't you give us first a kind of an overview of MVS, what you guys are doing up in Wisconsin and beyond now?
Okay. Well, thanks, Ken. Yeah, MVS started back in, well, actually MVS didn't start until 2008, but prior to that, back around 2000, it was Midwest Telnet, and it was developed by about 8 companies, small telcos that put in their own IPTV headend to get into video. And then in 2008, we evolved with joining 2 other partners, Tri-County Communications and Wind Technologies, who provides all of the dedicated video backbone for us. We created Midwest Video Solutions, and we were primarily serving customers in Wisconsin. But in that time, over the years, we've expanded out. We've got customers now, and along with Wisconsin and Minnesota, we've got one in Iowa, a couple in Illinois, a couple of recent ones. We'll be turning one up in Kansas and South Dakota. And then we do have the 2 military bases, one in Japan and one in South Korea. So a little sidebar there. But we started traditional MPEG-2 way back in the day, serving IP video. Of course, it evolved to MPEG-4. And now just recently, we updated our headend to provide services that include the adaptive bitrate, which can be used by companies such as Jim here at Lynxx with their system to provide streaming in-home over their devices, over their mobile phones or whatever inside the home. And so we just gave it another option. You can use a traditional linear IPTV with a set-top box, as everyone's pretty much used to today, or you can use a Roku stick or a Fire Stick and stream it and save some cost by deploying actual set-top boxes and so forth, and give you a little more flexibility in and around the home. So that's our latest development that we've launched, and making that available to customers that would like to try something like that.
So on the streaming, is it strictly in the home, or is it?
Yes, the current rights are in-home usage only. So we have our primary partner that we use is Innovative Solutions, and they have ways of provision, so it's locked by home. We also manage IP address ranges, so it's got to come from, and like in the case of Lynxx, it's got to come from their IP range to even work inside that network, inside the home. So it's locked down. There is capabilities within the system. If something would ever change in the future with programming rights, maybe we'll get some channels that would allow you to take it where you go. It's a provision change we could make and make it available outside those ranges. But as of today, it's locked down. Yes.
From a content rights standpoint, to where does the handoff end there? I mean, I know you have some level of rights management, or sign the agreements with the content holders, or where do you guys? What's your value add there?
Okay. Well, today we get all of the transport, head-in and transport rights from the programmers. So we receive all of the content, or most of the content anyway, at our main head-end here in Wisconsin. We package that together in multicast form or in unicast form, and we deploy that to the edge. And like in Lynxx's situation, we have equipment right there at his location. We drop the signal to him, so we've got rights from the programmers to deploy that to it. Yep. And then in Jim's case, he has programming distribution rights from the programmers that allow him to create whatever package he wants and deploy it to his customer base.
Well,
he needs rights too.
This is probably a good time to transition over to Jim then, and talk about Lynxx, and then we'll go back to the whole content rights stuff later. But let's why don't you tell us about Lynxx?
So Lynxx Networks, we were originally Lemonwear Valley Telephone Company. We were got together back in 1907 to serve a couple of rural exchanges, the Camp Douglas and the New Lisbon, Wisconsin exchanges. And over that years, like many others, there's been a lot of change, obviously technology and everything. Today, and by the way, we served about maybe 12, 15 miles of the Interstate 90 corridor. And today we actually serve 75 miles of that I-90 corridor from Mauston, Wisconsin to Lacrosse, Wisconsin. So we're serving in nearly every community along that stretch. So it's been pretty exciting. As far as television like distribution though, we, for the most part, keep that to our residential markets of Camp Douglas and New Lisbon. We do serve some businesses in the outside where, it might be a restaurant or they want TV. We do commercially with bars, taverns, places like that where they may want our television distribution, small business offices, where they may want something like that. But yeah, it's it's always an exciting time to be in this industry.
It is.
It's changing rapidly, which is part of the fun, I think.
Well, it reminds me of a comment that was once made by someone who had a common head end, and it was something about, we knew we had to make the investment in our head end, we just didn't know we had to make it 7 times.
Well, and that's it. And about almost it would be 3 years ago, May 1st, we also acquired an IT company, a very successful IT company out of Lacrosse here, because again, that's the change. Part of the change of the industry is, fitting into other footprints that are out there and being in those spaces, right?
Now you mentioned, it's a 75-mile long corridor there, but you're not providing video to all the townships, I guess, along the way.
Yeah, well, we've gone into those as like a competitor to the incumbent carriers and the cable companies. So, and we're fiber optic only. So we, particularly when we go in there, we're really looking at the pick off the business markets. Okay. The residential market is very difficult. It's very, very expensive to build. And typically you would need some aid to construction. And I think it's very difficult for these communities to come up with those types of funds to kind of help us out. And so, there may be some new money that some of these communities may get with some of the broadband proposals out there. But I think a lot of that may be focused a little bit more rural instead of in the towns. But, what we kind of look at is, as goes the banks and as goes healthcare in a community, as goes the community. So we view that we can go in there, do something extraordinary for these businesses, lift them up, put them in a position where they can, they can be in a position technology-wise to compete globally. We don't have the haves and the have-nots. So, that's kind of a big deal. So we go in and we do, like I say, extraordinary things for these customers, and, at great pricing and stuff that they can afford. And, it's all about building relationships and partnerships. And, we get to do that where, a lot of the big guys, that's just outside of their wheelhouse anymore to be able to have relationships, and they want relationships. That's really a big deal. So we can still do that and bring that.
It sounds almost kind of like the classic bringing the broadband to the anchor institutions, and then that helps
exactly
from there.
Exactly. Yeah. And, we're very successful and our name gets out. Honestly, we don't advertise very much, particularly because in this arena, we probably aren't going to serve everybody. It's got to make sense. We business case just about every piece of fiber we do. There may be this customer, 5 blocks down this road, And, you know, if he's the only one, nobody else is going to want to get in that game. You know, we're probably not going to go there. So, and then we're limited because we want to build close to where our network is. Okay. And we can envision, you know, 5 years from now, our network will be a lot bigger, and then we can get further out to other customers. So, yeah, we're always looking to partner more with the communities that we're building. And we have a great relationship with these communities. They see what we're doing, and they know we're investing for the future of those communities. That's a big deal.
And going back to the video and MVS, I mean, it seems like that's a classic case of kind of this partnership that collectively helped the individual owners. But now it seems like you've gone beyond the original 8, I guess it was, operators. So as you bring new people in, are they part of the ownership as well, or are they customers? How does that work?
Well, with the original, like I said, Midwest Telnet, they were the original company. Then there's 8 telcos that own that. Wind Technology is one of the other owners. 31 Wisconsin independent telcos are owners of that. And then Tri-County is a Wisconsin independent telco, and so they're an owner. So yeah, those are the 3 owners. So we are a roundabout way owned by 30 plus companies that we provide service to, or a lot of them anyway. Our new customers, they become a member of MVS. They're not an owner, so as to speak, and have voting rights or anything, but we get input from them of what we're trying to do and what they may need, you know, and try to have two-way communications and provide what they're looking for and what makes sense. So that's kind of the way we're structured today with everybody. And as we inch out into other areas, like I mentioned, Kansas stuff, like I say, they pay a small fee and become a member of MVS.
Well, the nice thing is that you're set up to serve, you know, your customers that also are owners. They want a good service fundamentally, right? So there, a lot of interests are aligned, and it's not like you're taking outside venture money or have different incentives for you guys.
Right. It's like we know we're cooperatively kind of owned, and we try to sell that to customers that are looking for a solution to help them. Is we're owned by companies that are relying on us, so you know you can rely on us. We're not going anywhere because they're, you know, our owners are relying on us to provide them service and a good quality service. You know, we do along Jim's comments about partnering and whatever. We do because we can't do it all. We're not super large or anything. So we have a couple vendors we partner with and try to develop new services and so forth with and leverage that. You know, and one of our big partners right now is Innovative Solutions that we're working with. And we worked with them a lot over the past 2 years on developing their current streaming at home solution that the companies are starting to roll out. So we do have some partners that way, but you're right. There's no venture capitalists in this. So,
well, and Innovative with, you know, Roger Music, he's clearly been, you know, focused on this industry for a long time. His roots go back, and literally the roots in Mitchell there.
Right.
So, from an adaptive bitrate perspective, why go that direction versus, you know, just the way you've been doing it with MPEG-4 and so forth?
Well, the streaming, it takes a different signal than your traditional MPEG-4 multicast signal. So it's an adaptive bitrate. It can adapt to different bandwidths, different devices within the home. So you can use these other devices like the Roku stick, Fire Stick, your iPad, whatever. So that's why we went ahead and we developed a signal that we deliver to customers that can deploy both those signals, and they can utilize. You can actually use a combination within a home. It's called, with Innovatives, it's called MG, multi-generational TV. And so you can have a set-top box in your home like you normally would have today, traditional, but then maybe you don't want to purchase, you know, 3 or at least 3 or 4 other set-top boxes. You can use these devices, a Fire Stick someplace, and other sets in your home or in your garage. Use your Wi-Fi network within the home. Gives them the customer a little more flexibility. Plus, they bring their own device to do that. So that was the big change. The companies don't have as much install time now. Jim can probably speak to that. Using the Wi-Fi network, and they hook up their device and get the signal to the sets within the home. A little more flexibility that way. And we continue to work with Innovative, and in fact, we're hoping to announce with them here real shortly that they are working with us to develop a hosted streaming solution that companies could meet us at one of our main POP areas, or maybe we'll develop out some more, and they can connect to a centralized hosted middleware for streaming solutions, such as what the Mobi TV Play is. And so they wouldn't have to buy all the equipment on the edge. We'll be working with them on some solutions such as that. So we're at the final stages, getting close, and hopefully we'll be announcing that pretty soon.
So from a technology standpoint, kind of continuing down that thread, then right now there's equipment, I guess it's probably in the AP Max or something like that goes in Jim's head end or POP, whatever you call it.
Yep, it's actually the AP Max was a component on it, but it is being phased out, and it's all going to be in what they call their InnoStream servers. So that's what's put on the edge at most customers today. But we're looking to potentially put all of that as one centralized head in, and everyone will connect back to that, and then they'll have to use a CDN network depending on where the customer is to put the live content out on the edge of their network. So then it won't have all those unicast signals coming all the way back to our head end.
That makes sense. You do kind of a multicast type approach. And then Jim, from a in the home perspective, Marty touched on this, the whole idea of using Wi-Fi, and I noticed you have a managed Wi-Fi product, but it seems like that becomes an important element to this, so you don't have to go out and wire everything.
Yeah, it's really a game changer. Video install is intensive. We're an Ethernet product, right? So, if they don't have Ethernet, we need to get it there. So that's a big deal. You're fishing walls and doing a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of things you can run into on older homes and can't get here, can't get there. What are you going to do? Sometimes they've got some old coax, and maybe we can use that, throw some mocha or whatever on the end, and try to deliver a service. But we really like to get the Ethernet. Now, we do have a managed Wi-Fi product, and now the idea, like Marty said, they bring their own device, they bring their own remote, they bring it all. So now we're actually out of that, because if you sit down and I think and you listen to our customer technology, customer service people, and you say, hey, what is the number one calls that we get? Well, it's the remote, and it's, hey, I somehow changed my input on my TV and I can't get it back. Well, why are they changing the input on their TV? Well, because they went to Netflix, or they went to Hulu, and they went to Amazon TV, they went to Prime, they went to somewhere, and it's like, okay, they're already streaming, right? And why don't we just make this simple, okay? Just stream everything through your Roku, your Amazon, your Fire Stick, or your Apple TV, right? Let's just set you up. You just go through all of that. You can get all that content, and you can get the MVS stream as well. So it just made life easy, right? So when these customers are on that network and they have this streaming service, okay, we're not hearing from them, okay? Now the other thing is, when we move into this, as Marty said, we got a lot of devices in the home that can be connected at the same time. Your iPads, your phones and different things. So now you're connecting all those. You may want to consider, upticking to the next highest package of speeds and things. So there's always an upsell side to that as well, because the whole thing is we're trying to create an experience, all right? Everybody's got TV. Everybody's got broadband. Everybody's got everything, okay? Who's delivering the experience? And that's kind of really what it's all about, because that's April. We have a cable competitor in our area, right? And, they're big. So they can't create the same experience that we can. So, there's Hulu TV and there's YouTube TV. And we've got customers that have those services, okay? And they're good, they're great, and they get really good pricing, much better than us, okay? But man, if you got a problem, can they help you? Good luck trying to find, how do you contact YouTube? How do you how do you do this, right? So we're still there to help lend that hand and, have that little bit of touch that nobody else can do, right? So it's big for us to help migrate people. So we're looking at 5+ years down the road. Set tops in our mind, they're gone. This whole thing is shifting and going. So we're all about, let's move our customers there. Let's always be ahead of the game. We don't want to be trailers. We don't want to be catching up, okay? We want to make the statement, okay? So our competitors, they'll have a streaming. They don't have one yet. Well, we got one. Let's get it out. Let's get ahead of the game. So, we're kind of about that with our customers, and we've learned they really appreciate that. We're bringing the latest and greatest, and they like that, and they trust us with it.
So it sounds like it's kind of a path where you've kind of forked to this new advanced one. You're supporting the other one. Eventually, though, the advanced one will be the
So everything out of the box. Any new customer, we don't even talk set top. We start right off with streaming. Okay, we promote heavy the streaming services. There's a discount because they have no set top. So hey, that's $5 per set top, per house. Well, the average house has at least 3 of them. So you got $15. We have people that have as many as 8, 9, 10 of them.
Wow.
Well, that's significant. So, and we need $5 a month to help offset the costs and the maintenance and everything. So, hey, if we can eliminate that, but then again, we're not rolling trucks to replace a remote. We're not, dealing with the calls. And even though those seem like big issues, but, those are not a good experience with the customer, right? So every time that remote isn't working or every time they lost the input, they're not having a good experience. So we want to help that. And I, as I mentioned, this streaming service keeps them on the right input all the time, no matter what content. They want MVS or they want to jump over and watch movies on Prime or Netflix. It's all there. Just click the button.
Yeah, it makes it super easy, it sounds like. From a content rights perspective, now you are the one actually contracting out. Are you working with a third party to kind of get the rights to the programming?
Yes, we work with a group called Cooperative Networks, and they really help us with negotiating, with the content providers and stuff. So we see a lot of value. We're small, and I think most of the Martys, those members of MVS, most of us are small. We're not really, really large. We're not Arbox or price cap companies. We're not the big boys. So it's really nice. And then we pool ourselves together through a group like that where they can walk in and represent 20, 30, 40, 50,000 customers. I mean, we're looking for a voice. If I walk in there with my few thousand customers, I don't really have a voice. Why are they going to give me time? So, I mean, it's very helpful, I think, if we work through a group like that. So.
CNS, that's Gene, and and so they do a lot of local content, I assume, or local channels and stuff.
Yeah, they work with our local channels. They work through NCTC, which is another large, cooperative.
Right.
For buying.
I've worked with them many times. Yep.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
So that makes sense. So then it's just really probably a matter of time as far as before you get rights to go beyond the home or whatever.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that. We have a lot of these communities that I said that we have built in from the business perspective, and it's not that we wouldn't like to go in and serve all and have all those residential customers, but if we had to build brand new fiber, we're probably not going to be the least expensive, right? And we've just learned that people buy from their wallet. So that's really important, you know, and the product they have isn't killing them. So having to change isn't always that big of a deal. So, you know, you can't afford to do it just for a TV product. You know, you need the internet, you need multiple products, you know, to be able to make that business case work. So, yeah, that's, it's, like I said, we'd like to do more, but if we had the rights to be able to get outside of our IP range, that would be a strong product, because we would then go in and we would offer our service through our competitors' broadband. And that would be just fine. You know, we just disclose to them.
It'd be great brand building exercise, wouldn't it?
Exactly. So
one of the things that another thing that struck me was just your comment about people having 8 devices in their home, and I just go back 15 years when networks were limited because of DSL or whatever. So are you guys fiber to the home then, 100% these days, or?
Yeah, we began our fiber overbuild back in 2008. We were done in just a few years. So yeah, we have no copper in our network. We haven't for many, many years. All fiber. You know, we sell 4 internets: 100 by 100, 200 by 200, 500 by 500, and 1,000 by 1,000. That's all we do.
Wow. Yeah. So Cliff Albertson's probably hawking your area, right? Move remote telework from Camp Douglas, right?
Cliff is fantastic. What a representative for our industry.
Yeah, he is.
He's always pushing hard. He's a great friend.
Yeah, he is. And it's the communities out there too, right? Because the reality is, with your network, you can live there and work in Silicon Valley.
You know, it's a big push, and it is interesting. We do have people coming back into our area. There's there's good and bad things happening in the bigger cities today, and for some of the things that are happening, it's like, you know, I don't know if I really want to be here so much. And oh, by the way, man, I can get better connectivity back home. Maybe that's where I grew up. I went to college, fell in love with the big city, and now it's like, gosh, I don't know if I want to raise my kids here. You know, and remember back home, everybody made the football team. everybody made the basketball team, right? So
they had to.
Man, I think I want to go back to that. And by the way, God, my mom has a gig for under $90, a full gig up and down. So, I mean, you know, like, wow, I can go back. We can have that. And I can live in these beautiful hills and on the river or on the lake, and I can still get all that. It's a lifestyle thing. So,
yeah, that's great.
We do get to offer that. And not just us, but I think all the companies represented from WIN, that those of us that are rural, you know, we create an amazing atmosphere for people to come back, or to people to explore it, getting out and staying connected. And, you know, working from home has never been bigger, and it's never going away. So this is an ideal time for that to happen.
It is. And Marty, from your vantage point, having, you know, kind of that broader view, literally a multi-state view and a really international view with Japan and South Korea, but are you seeing, you know, Jim's experience get links with these other operators that you provide service to? Are they seeing similar things?
Yeah, a lot of some of our newer companies we've signed up in the last couple of years are ISPs that, you know, really didn't have any intentions of getting into video, but they discover when they have deployed the service, their internet and if they're adding phone or whatever to it, there's been a demand yet. People are looking to combine it still together, and they'd like to have some sort of a video service from those companies. So that's where they've reached out, they found us, and we've worked with them to supply what they're doing. Some are, because they're new, a lot of them are fiber to the home overbuilders, or there's some fixed wireless ones that are starting to go in as well, and they hope to see if they can leverage over their closed networks. And, you know, like Jim pointed out, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand with him. He can resell his broadband services, because the only way this video platform works for him is on his broadband, because we have to keep it close to the network. So, and he's got great bandwidth and service, so hopefully they get a really good quality experience.
And in those scenarios, like if you're serving someone in Kansas, I assume that they're grabbing the local channels there, or are you somehow and
Yeah.
then injecting them?
The ones we've worked with so far, because they've got their edge systems and so forth, they bring those in locally, do the transcoding they need there, and inject them into whichever middleware they might be using. Primarily, the ones we've seen lately are the innovative one, and they inject the AVR signal right there and combine them into their service. But that's where I mentioned earlier, we are looking to essentially make a hosted one, and in that case, they would ship their raw signal to us. We would transcode and send it back in unicast.
Okay, well that makes sense. I mean, I think there's been proven market for that kind of hosted approach, so it'll be interesting to see how it evolves. So I think we need to end this conversation with something that I saw at the beginning before we actually started the conversation. Jim, why don't you show us that carbon fiber guitar and how it plays a special role in your community. I don't know if you can talk to the origins of it, but
so
you can even play something.
So this guitar is a McPherson guitar. It's called the Sable. It is, I don't know if you can even see it here.
Yeah, you have to raise it up a little bit.
How about if I put that more in the screen instead of me? If I can do that. So hold on, I think I can do this better here. Give me a moment here.
This is one of the great things working from home is you get to see things in people's in their house.
So this is called a Sable. It is a carbon fiber, all carbon fiber McPherson guitar. So you'll look up just McPherson. It's a great place. They're manufactured in Sparta, Wisconsin. They're owned by Matt and Sherry McPherson. Matt and Sherry are also the owners of Matthews Archery, which is a very large, probably one of the largest archery companies in the world. So it's kind of a cool thing. I visited with Matt one time, and archery is his hobby and music is his passion.
Nice.
So this is a very interesting guitar. It's his wood guitars he's made for years, but the carbon is very unique. It's this guitar has a ring out. It will just sit. You probably can't hear it as well, but it's still ringing. I can hear it still ringing.
Wow.
It's just amazing. Matt came up with this design many, many years ago, but the top of a guitar is like the soundboard, okay? And here's another interesting thing. I don't know if you can see this, but the top of this guitar, this neck where it comes down, is not attached, okay? So we're going to see if you can see this or not, Ken, but
there's a little
over the top, okay? So it's connected here, on the side, but not on the top because he doesn't want to disturb the soundboard. Because if you have to attach that, you've got to add all the bracing underneath that to support it. And then that bracing has to be bigger than this, which would, disturb the soundboard. So it's...
Sounds
just got a beautiful ring. Beautiful sound. And I also have a wood one. I would play that, but I know that one will not be tuned, so I'm not going to around that.
And that's using carbon fiber, state-of-the-art materials that, and that probably is what allows them to have that gap then and not have it attached to the soundboard, huh?
Well, they have that on the wood guitar too.
Oh, okay.
So when Matt generated this guitar, and again, moving the sound hole up allows that sound to resonate out of it. So if you think about, you're playing pretty fast a lot. So, and your sound's coming out the sound hole. And if it's having to go over the top of all those strings vibrating that are actually a different chord, right? Or whatever that you're playing, it's really noticeable when you pull that sound hole up to the top and it's not coming over the top of the strings, right? Because the sound comes from the soundboard and inside, and then it comes out more pure. And, you know, it's just got an amazing sound to it. So technology-wise, I mean, that's pretty cool that, you know, he is an incredible, innovative individual that has a passion for this stuff and a passion to, and not willing to do something different, right? So,
and it's all done in rural Wisconsin, where
it is. It's a rural community of Wisconsin, and they have our fiber. All these folks are friends, but they're also customers, and we love being with them, working with them, and everything. So it's just cool. And again, this is what happens in rural America. Okay. You know, they used to have the big guys before we ever got there many years ago. And, you know, there was a day back, you know, a long time ago where they had that relationship with the local technicians or people. But as they got bigger and bigger, even that wasn't able to happen anymore. So, I mean, that changes everything. So, you know, we're never going to be really big. We're growing all the time. But we're never going to be that big. That isn't an aspiration or anything. So we're always able to have a relationship. Matter of fact, I will share this and I'll stop. Every customer that we go and approach with our fiber optic in our others, like Lacrosse or on Alaska as an example, okay? The first thing we're determining when we're visiting with them, are we going to be able to have a relationship with these people? Because we get into a conversation. They may want us bad, but if we determined that, no way, we're not going to have any relationship here, we won't do it. It's the money isn't that important, okay? It's about a relationship. And we want them to understand is we don't have to make our money back here in the first 6 months, okay? But dang, I got to keep my lights on, and we got to keep our employees working and everything. So we plan to serve you and never, ever lose you. We're going to earn your business every day and what we do and how we do it. But, you know, that's a relationship, right? So that's important. And, you know, I buy guitars from people who are like that. Okay. I love that.
Well, and if you know, they have a problem, they can find you at church playing that guitar every Sunday, right? So
yeah, there's a lot of those people sitting in that church listening to it. Actually, some of them are up and I'm playing with them. So
yeah, so you have to make sure they're happy with your product, right? So
it's a good thing all around.
They know where to find you.
They would let me know if I didn't have it sounding very good. Jim, you should have tuned that guitar. I'm like, dude, it was right on. Trust me. I looked. No, it's good. But no, it's good to have passions in life, right?
Yeah, I'll just leave this final note. Leave it to Jim to end the video discussion on a nice note.
I love it, Marty.
I so appreciate catching up with you guys. I can't wait to the time when we can meet again in person.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.